Flip phones defined the late 90s and early 2000s tech scene. There was something so satisfying about flicking open your phone and dramatically clamping it shut when you were done with a call. Eventually, smartphones like BlackBerry and Palm and feature phones from companies like LG, Samsung, and Sony shifted the landscape away from flip phones. Then came Apple's iPhone in 2007, which revolutionized the industry and helped put the nail in the coffin for dumb phones. Later versions of the iPhone helped make flat touchscreens ubiquitous, essentially spelling the end for flip phones. Or so we thought. Over the last few years, companies like Samsung and Motorola have launched foldable and flippable phones that call back to previous decades while weaving in modern-day smartphone functionality. Some of the biggest examples are the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip and Fold devices and the modern-day version of the Motorola Razr. Each of these gadgets has a touchscreen on the front as well as inside, and they give you that satisfying snap when you close them. In 2021, 7.1 million foldable phones were shipped worldwide, according to IDC. That's a 264% increase over 2020. By 2025, IDC predicts foldable phone shipments will reach over 27 million units. More people are starting to warm up to the idea of owning a foldable phone. A 2021 survey from YouGov found that half of U.S. consumers are either very or somewhat interested in buying a foldable phone for their next device. All that data basically means one thing: foldable phones are probably here to stay, and here's why. Over the last several years, smartphones have been getting bigger and bigger, with companies like Samsung and Apple releasing larger versions of their flagship devices. The appeal of a foldable phone is that you can still enjoy a wider display, but then fold up your device to more easily fit into your pocket. And with a product like the Galaxy Fold, you kind of get a phone-tablet hybrid. When Samsung unveiled the Galaxy Fold in 2019, it showed a mainstream audience what was possible when it came to the future of smartphones. There were, of course, some issues. CNET's reviewers found that even though the extra-large display was great for watching videos and reading, the phone still had a short battery life, a fragile screen, and a steep price tag of nearly $2,000. Some review units had major issues with the folding screen and hinge. Even after most of these issues were addressed, initial reviews were still mixed. Since then, Samsung has released multiple versions of its Fold and Flip devices, improving durability and lowering prices along the way. A handful of other companies have also rolled out foldable phones. Microsoft launched its Surface Duo in 2020, which features two separate screens. Outside the US, Huawei has released foldable phones like the Mate X2 and P50 Pocket. And in China, Xiaomi launched the Mi Mix Fold, while Oppo has the Find N. Lisa Edichico, our Samsung mobile expert, shares her insights.
So it's slowly growing. It's still, there aren't that many, but a lot of the major smartphone makers are starting to get into the space. Samsung has also been very vocal about foldables kind of being the future of where they see smartphones going, so it's not surprising to see them launch more foldable phones.
When it comes to the appeal of these devices, there's a novelty element that's hard to deny. Foldable phones bring a fresh concept to a space that's been pretty stagnant lately.
Phones are just phones now. They're not as exciting as they used to be. You'll get a better camera, you'll get a faster processor, you might get a bigger screen or a screen that's a little bit different or has a higher refresh rate, but the leap between generations just isn't as big as it used to be. So I think a lot of these companies are trying to figure out what's next. How can we make the smartphone exciting again?
But if foldable phones are really going to catch on, there will need to be some changes. First of all, the price. The Galaxy Z Fold 3 costs around $1,800, which is a lot of money to chalk up, especially for a device that's still fairly new and therefore has a few kinks to work out. The Galaxy Z Flip 3 costs significantly less at $1,000, but that can still be a lot of money, especially since you aren't necessarily getting the same camera quality as you would with the Galaxy S22 Ultra or the iPhone 13 Pro, which are around the same price range. The Motorola Razr also comes with a hefty $1,400 price tag and still doesn't include features like wireless charging or a high refresh rate display or a big battery. You're basically paying for the ability to fold it down into something small. These devices debuted just before the COVID-19 pandemic, which probably didn't help with sales, since people were less likely to splurge on inessential things like a foldable phone. This brings us to our next point. Foldable phones need to give customers a more compelling reason to buy in beyond just the novelty. That would make those higher price tags slightly more palatable.
There really isn't anything super new or different other than multitasking and opening up more apps on the screen at the same time and getting a bigger view of the apps. Those are all really nice things, but they're not necessarily super new and different than what we were doing on our regular smartphones before. So I think companies really need to figure that out. Why do I need this over a regular phone, especially if it's going to be significantly more expensive?
In a lot of ways, foldable phones are still figuring out how to nail the basics. When you open up a fold device, for example, you get to enjoy a wide screen that basically doubles as a tablet. But when you close the phone, you're left with a kind of awkward, small screen that may not feel intuitive or useful. Foldables need to not just provide something novel, but also live up to the standards we're used to with non-folding smartphones. That includes better battery life, durability, and functionality. Another factor that's preventing some people from buying a foldable phone is that their preferred brand doesn't sell a foldable device. Around 15% of people surveyed by YouGov cited this as the reason they're not interested in foldables. So while a range of companies have already released foldable phones, there's still one really big player who hasn't: Apple. There have been rumors swirling for years that Apple is working on a foldable iPhone. Patents show designs for a flexible display, hinting the company could be eyeing its own competitor to the Galaxy Fold or Flip, but it's never commented on those reports. Now, rumors suggest Apple could be releasing a foldable device in 2025. Longtime Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo predicts that product could be a foldable iPad or an iPad-iPhone hybrid. Reports in 2021 suggested Apple already has a prototype of a foldable iPhone.
Apple isn't really the type to just come out with a product because everyone else is doing it. They typically wait until they feel like they can really bring something new or different to the experience and kind of put their own spin on it. We saw that with the Apple Watch. There were definitely several other smartwatches before the Apple Watch came out. So if Apple does release a foldable iPhone, I don't think we'll be seeing it anytime soon. We'll probably have to wait.
While these rumors remain up in the air, one thing that feels a little more certain is that foldable phones don't seem to be going anywhere. In fact, we'll probably see more of them from different companies as time unfolds.
I think they are here to stay. I don't know how popular they'll be or how long it will take for them to become popular, but I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon.